Hey everyone, before we get started in this week's video, this piece of wood is from a viewer and I wanted to read a note the viewer sent. Peggy, here is the big leaf maple I promised. It came to me when a street was widened in our small town about 3 years ago. There are 2 large maples, approximately 38 inches in diameter, that had to go. I approached the contractor about them. He told me I could have them. He would even load them in my trailer. I had the trees slabbed locally. I've made 2 large natural edge tables and several bowls out of it. Grain is beautiful, of color and some figure. Hope you can make one of your amazing bowls. I'm one of your distance learning students, Alan. Thank you, Alan, first of all. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's video. As you already heard, this is a pretty big piece of big leaf maple. I'm using a faceplate to get it mounted on the lathe, adjusting the tool rest before proceeding with other safety gear. This is the air trend shield. Starting off with the Carter & Son bowl gouge, just trying to get it trued up, not trying to take off too much material at this point. This was a pretty big chunk of wood, and it was really dense. I did a lot of stopping and starting on this one. Now I'm going to start on the bottom of the bowl, and as you can see, it's not in balance at all, which I knew going in. So just trying to take off material to get it to be in balance. I knew there was going to be quite a bit of material that I needed to take off to make this the shape of the bowl that I wanted. And I stopped to sharpen several times throughout this project. As I mentioned, this piece of big leaf maple was really dense. So starting to get a little bit of a curve there on the side and trying to flatten the bottom out enough so I can start the mortise and the foot. Using the parting tool to make some lines, cleaning it up with the bowl gouge. And you can see the start of a mortise and the size of the foot. Now I just need to turn off quite a bit of material there on the side and the curve. Stopping to check the progress and knowing I have quite a bit more to go. I tried a few different bowl gouges on this to see which one would work best, and I believe it was this one, the 3/4 inch bowl gouge by Carter & Son. A different vantage point here. You can see me doing a push cut here, trying to get a somewhat final, maybe not the final, cut on the side of the bowl, on the curve. But trying to get some cuts there on the side to make the curve a nice soft curve. As you may have noticed, this has a few cracks, so that's why I'm starting to fill them here with the Starbond Thin. This is the odorless thin. First time I've used it, and I really like it. Can't smell a thing. So you can see the general shape of the bowl coming together a little bit now. I sanded from 80 grit to 400 grit on this, and I won't make you watch it all. I did have one screw break off, and that's what I'm doing here, is taking out the body of the screw. And have it mounted in the 4-jaw chuck using the mortise I made and starting to true up the top. And it was out of balance quite a bit. And I wasn't sure at this point if it was, you know, the size or density of the bowl or the weight distribution, or if I needed to true up the top. So I was stopping and starting a lot to see how I could fix the balance part of this so I can get some good cuts. I'm not sure what worked. I tried a few different things. Trial and error. Sometimes bowls do that. Sometimes they get perfectly in balance, and sometimes they just wobble a little bit. Mostly they're in balance, but sometimes you get one that's finicky like this. So hollowing it out with the bowl gouge, as you can see, and then switching to the robust interior curved tool rest. As always, I'm going to link everything I use in this video down below. Still have a ways to go, and I switched to the Jimmy Clues Mate tool. This is a hollower. And it does an awesome job at just getting rid of material. Normally I enjoy using the bowl gouge and just going slow, but as I mentioned, this one was a little bit finicky, so I thought that tool would be a good quick way to get rid of most of the inner part of the bowl. This is a good view of the AirTrend Pro face shield respirator. That's what it looks like fully. Kind of see the front and the back. A little bit of a close-up view with the Jimmy Clues Mate tool again. Still just trying to hog out some material. And then some final passes with the bowl gouge. Just trying to go slow and get some nice clean cuts. Now, in addition to the thin, I'm also going to use some black. Some of the cracks were starting to seem like they could go all the way through or close to all the way through. So while the thin held things together while I had the lathe speed pretty high, the black is going to be the color that you'll see when the piece is finished. So using the scraper tool there, and next I'm switching to a texturing tool, which I don't think I've used on my channel for quite a while. So just making a simple design in the bottom and then putting a circle around it. And then I'm using the intrinsic colors in black, and the other color I'm going to use is ruby. But just making a simple design and using a paintbrush to into the indentations, to color the indentations, and then any excess will be sanded off. So if it looks like I'm making a mess, it's because, well, I am making a mess. But it will look better soon. Stick with me. Now for some sanding, and you have to be careful here to, not take too much off, but also take enough off so the design shows through. The finished piece. Here's the bowl. So in the video, you probably saw me use this Starbond product. And the reason I was pointing here is because for me, it's a new product. It's odorless. I really liked it. So if you want to try some, I will link it in the video description. Also, Starbond has a pretty cool discount if you want to check that out and save some money. New sticker, Webfoot Resin and Wood Creations. I want to take a moment and say thank you to my Patreon members. I really couldn't do this without you. I really appreciate your support. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon member, I will link that in the video description as well. I will link that down in the video description. Also, for those of you who may be interested in learning more about wood turning, I do have a Teachable class on teachable.com. How to get started in wood turning. I will leave it linked in the video description. So check that out if you're interested. Until next week, peace out.